AM1450, FM 1033, KNSI's Ox in the afternoon. KNSI News Time 3:08, 8 minutes after 3 o'clock. Good afternoon. Coming up today, we do have State Representative Tama Theis. Moments away, actually. We're going to be talking about the bonding bill that the governor released on Friday. I don't know where we're going to squeeze it in. We do have Stearns County Commissioner Mark Bromanschenkel, too, coming up later on this hour. They had a big meeting at Stearns County Commissioners meeting today, I believe, a board meeting, and all the legislators were there. It was a big deal. You're hearing coverage here on KNSI News, and we'll talk to him about that. I believe it's the last meeting of January, and I don't know that we've talked to Commissioner Bromanschenkel yet this year. He has agreed to come on with us at least once a month and update us on what is going on in the county, so we do appreciate that. I think we started with a brief chat in December, and now we'll move on here to January. So we look forward to that here in about a half hour. But a couple other quick things. One is this Albertville project. Wow, this Sony Pictures project in Albertville. I'm dying to talk about that. We also have some developments out of Iowa involving Governor Branstad. And, yes, the name Sarah Palin, not as a candidate, but just her name is finally now coming up in the presidential campaign. We'll get into a little bit how maybe you've already heard it. And if we do have a little bit of time, too, we'll talk a little bit more. I've got the 6 takeaways from the Democratic debate that aired Sunday night. If we have to, we'll get into that. But it's just possible that we won't have to. The other things today, I'm looking forward to giving away some SBOX tickets. We'll explain a little bit more about what SBOX is all about for those who might not know. And also 2 new events that we're going to be giving tickets away to. We'll start today. 2? And, so we'll have 3 total if you count SBOX.
All right.
I was reluctant to do this, but you know what? We're just going to do it.
Sure.
So, big day today. Lots of offerings, guests, and opportunities for you, the KNSI listener. Right now, though, at 3:10, 10 minutes after 3 o'clock. Oh, God darn it. I wasn't prepared. I got talking to Jerry in studio, and I didn't get my ducks in a row here. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. Got my papers arranged, and now we welcome State Representative Tama Theis. Welcome to you, Tama.
Well, thanks, Dan. It's great to be here today.
All right. This is what I wanted to get my ducks in a row, because I wanted to open the interview by saying, Governor's jobs bill would create over 39,000 Minnesota jobs. The $1.4 billion bonding bill invests in needed infrastructure improvements across Minnesota. A $1.4 billion bonding bill, Tama. Did this knock your socks off when you saw this on Friday?
Well, yes and no. Yes, because it's like, you're kidding me. And the other is, he's just unbelievably, he just thinks we should just up everything. The budget, the bonding, it's all great. You know, we say we've got the surplus, but what if it doesn't pan out? If you've been watching the stock market and stuff, you know things aren't as wonderful as they were when we first started the surplus. So I tend to be a little bit more on the, conservative side. And so I'm like, we probably won't have that much money by the time we're done with all this adjusting and stuff that's going on right now.
Well, yeah, and I appreciate that. But one of the things that is lost clearly on the governor, which is weird, and I think it's lost on a lot of folks when they try to say, we got the money, we should spend it. By definition, the bonding bill is a borrowing bill. So,
exactly.
I mean, if he's talking about writing out a check and just clearing it for $1 billion and spending the surplus on that or projected surplus, whatever, well, that's a whole different conversation. But it doesn't even matter whether or not we have a surplus or not, because we're talking about a 20-year payback plan here.
Well, you're right. But I think he's looking at, $600 has to go into the reserves. So he's probably thinking, we got reserves. We might as well borrow more.
Yeah.
We got money in the bank to pay it off.
Yeah.
I mean, to say that I really follow his thought process, I mean, that would never happen. I just totally don't get where he's coming from sometimes. And, it's like, no, we don't. We don't have that kind of money to spend. And he's a little bit loopy if he thinks we can.
Yeah. Yep. This just doesn't seem right. $1.4 billion. And you know what? This will take a brief walk down memory lane. Wasn't it when Jesse Ventura became governor that the legislature gave him a $1 billion bonding bill at that time, and he said if it comes back over $500 million, I'm going to veto it. And it came back over 500. They cut it in half, and he still vetoed it.
Yeah, I remember that too. He just scratched so much stuff off and said, "Yeah, never going to happen."
Yeah,
and sent it back. And so that's kind of fun, but it is. It's a little bit crazy. People just think you can just spend like crazy because you have it, but it's like, you know what? Let's look ahead a little bit down the road and see what's happening to everything. And I'm just, am I surprised? No, not at all. And will it happen? Probably not. One of the things we talked about on the Capital Investment Committee, Chair Torkelson told us right away, what the governor proposes for a bonding bill may not look anything like what we decide in committee. So I hold that. I'm going to hold Chair Torkelson to that because I think a lot of the things that the governor has suggested is, it's maybe okay, but let's really think about this.
Well, except for all the cool stuff that we get for St. Cloud.
Right.
No,
that's not to say we're not going to get it. And I mean, you got to look at it. I mean, he's got Eastman, in which I think is a wonderful opportunity for state. We definitely need more something. I don't know what to say, how to do it. We have to do more to get more medical professionals into the business. So it's like Eastman is going to be dedicated to health and human service type things, and that we really need. I mean, that is a very good project because we really need more nurses and docs and everything else. You talk to anybody in the healthcare and they're telling you, we're going to run out of these folks. And so I look at that something keeping our state going in the future. But some of these projects, what else? We have, the reformatory. Isn't that part of the Department of Public Safety?
Yeah.
I mean, that isn't really a St. Cloud deal. But
No.
I'm kind of surprised about Frederick Park. In a way.
I didn't find it.
I don't know that I've heard anything about the hydro dam.
No, but that's what I wanted to ask you. I can't find Frederick Park. Is it in the governor's bill?
I don't think so. I think I saw something where it was not.
Okay, because I haven't seen it either, and that's what I was going to ask you. So as far as you know, it's not in here either. I've got the spreadsheet anyway in front of me, and I've looked through it, but sometimes it's cryptic. In fact, for clarification, I'm glad that you said Eastman. Is that the $12,381,000 for student health and academic renovation?
Yes.
Okay, so that's a pretty good chunk for SCSU. But again, that should all be minuscule. It shouldn't matter what town that's in.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
So really, I don't think they included the Wobegon Trail either, did they?
I didn't see that. You know what else I didn't see is this thing that Mayor Kleis was working on, and maybe, again, it's buried somewhere. But he was trying to get some money, and maybe this isn't in the bonding bill, but he was trying to get some money for some of the state-mandated upgrades to some of our old downtown buildings for elevator safety.
Yes. Yes, I don't remember.
I don't see
I don't remember where that was going to go.
In here
dang it.
either. Yeah,
well,
see?
that should have been in there because there's a lot of communities that could really benefit from that. If we're trying to keep old buildings, we should make it a deal breaker.
Well, I'm not saying it's not here, but I don't see it. Maybe it's in some other bill.
Yeah, I don't remember hearing anything about that one.
No. So, but let me, if I can, because you though it doesn't benefit the people of St. Cloud necessarily, Representative Theis, but it is something I know that you've worked on and that you've seen firsthand. A desperate need, and just for the state of Minnesota as a whole, and that is this prison, all these prison upgrades to the tune of $27 or more million. What are all those things?
Oh, for St. Cloud, it is absolutely. I'll tell you, if everybody gets a tour, and you get to see the intake outtake, which probably won't happen, but when you see what these folks have been working in such a small area with these prisoners going back and forth and seeing each other. I mean, I am so surprised there hasn't been more things happening. And when they get a delivery, trucks would actually come into the wall. And guess who works on loading and unloading? I am so surprised we haven't had, a run on folks getting out of the prison because of the way it's handled. And what the renovations do is they look at both of those areas. They get a much bigger, more secure area for intake and outtake. It is just it is amazing to me. It's just a wide hallway that they've partitioned off to have these guys go back and forth in, and it's crazy to think that they've been running that way for that long. And then like I said, you've also got the delivery areas, but they're also doing some additions to where they screen everybody health-wise, where they have all the health services part of it. So they're doing a pretty nice renovation on all that. And I got to look to see if, I think tuck pointing the wall was part of it too, because the very fact that you could climb the wall.
Why is that $4 million to make sure the prisoners don't climb over the wall?
Yeah, basically you could.
We should be in the wall business. Well, I guess your husband kind of was, right?
Well, he kind of was, but but it was crazy. I mean, we stood up there, and it's like, yeah, if I had some experience in rock climbing, I probably would have been able to scale it. However, I didn't have the right shoes. I'm going to use that as my excuse. But we were basically invited to climb it because you could.
Oh, wow.
And, that's kind of sad when you consider, everything else they do to make it more secure and you can do it from the outside as well.
Now we're hearing, to try to escape from St. Cloud into the prison.
Right.
Yikes. The other thing then that I want to just get clarification on with you, why it is so important for the state of Minnesota, this intake corridor, if you will, or this intake facility at our prison. If I'm not mistaken, all people who go into the penitentiary system in Minnesota, regardless what prison they actually get sent to, start in St. Cloud. Is that right?
They do. What St. Cloud does is takes all these folks and they evaluate them, and then after a certain amount of time after the evaluation is done, and then they go to other areas. So basically, this is their first stop, and what you have is 2 rooms where folks coming in are set. And then you have another little area a little bit further down this hallway, and the guys going out go through too. Now, it may not seem like a big deal, but if you've got some rival gang members watching some come in and out, they said it really gets the guys excited, and they really have to watch to make sure nothing happens.
Gotta think it's pretty dicey.
My radar.
Yeah, I gotta think that'd be pretty dicey. So to try to get that straightened out makes sense.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, try to imagine this corridor is packed with stuff that's, office stuff. And then you're trying to make sure guys, come and go as safely as possible. It was just crazy. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. It's just ridiculous. So, in my opinion, this is a much-needed upgrade, since just about everybody is going to come through this facility to get evaluated before they go to their next stop.
Part of the issue that I have, Tama, with a lot of these things in the governor's bonding bill is it just seems to me, and I know the money's got to come from somewhere, but it seems to me a lot of these things shouldn't be optional. Well, if we think we can afford the loan, we'd love to have these things, but they're not necessities, so let's put it in the bonding bill. Seriously, our prisons need to be in the bonding bill? I mean, it seems to me that should be general fund stuff.
I know, but you also know there's a lot of folks that don't like this part with general fund stuff and have it, designated for certain things. And it really is. I mean, this safety should be something we don't even think about. It should just be done.
State park, $3 million for the Itasca State Park renovation. Perfect. In my opinion, that's great for bonding.
Yeah.
I mean, if we got the money, great. If not, well, then we don't renovate Itasca State Park just yet.
Right.
Those are the kind of things that, might need to be done, but it's certainly not crucial. Whereas prisons are, and we had Annette Meeks on from the Freedom Foundation yesterday. Annette.
Yeah.
And she had an interesting point about all the buildings on campuses that we're building all these buildings, and yet its demographics are showing that it's possible that, by the time the buildings are built, by the time, they'd be looking to fill them, there might not be students to even go in there. So is that the right thing to do?
And I agree with you. There were a couple of times that several of us, when we were doing our tours, would listen to the spiel about how they were, and in fact, one Yeah, I think one campus, they were taking some stuff down. They were actually taking out square footage by the time they were done, and that was a good thing because, you know, they didn't need the extra space.
Yeah.
But holy smokes, the price tag on that is like, whoa, you got to be kidding me. And per square foot, I mean, to do work on a campus must be just, you know, that alone just puts up the cost per square foot because it was pretty crazy when some of us were doing the calculations and it's like, well, why is this almost double every other project? And
why is it?
I don't know. We don't know.
Wow. Yeah, well, you being in the, you know, with your husband having a building company, of course, and everything, you would kind of know.
Yes. And one of the other guys was, well, actually, Representative Knobloch was with on some of those trips. And another representative, Bob Vogel, who is a bank president in he's in New Market.
Okay.
I can't remember what. But anyway, you know, it was so nice to be able to kind of stand back and go, okay, so what are we looking at here? You know, what is our square footage amount? And it was a lot. Well, it was always a lot.
And Jim Knobloch owns commercial buildings, grew up, you know, with his dad being a developer and all that. I mean, he would know that from birth. That's got to be frustrating.
Exactly. You know, it was just really interesting. And then we went to some water treatments and the solid waste plants and things like that. And some of them are like, wow, they need this like today. There really is. They're working with such old equipment that, you know, it's hard to find any parts for anything and, you know, how do you fix anything? And some of that, it's like, yeah, absolutely, that's needed.
Well, after watching, you know, what's going on in Flint, Michigan, I think we have a renewed importance, you know, that we think of anyway, top of mind for clean water.
Oh, exactly. Exactly. So some of these projects are absolutely worth it. And I'm really sure we'll have some good conversations on it. Some of them you're kind of like, yeah, you know, yeah, it's a good idea, but, you know, is this really what bonding is for? And we'll have our work cut out for us, and we'll start most likely early already having some meetings and things just to make sure we get some of these bills looked at. And we looked at quite a few things last year, too. We were already hearing proposals and such, and a lot of those we looked at this summer.
So do you have a deadline? When does the House bill come out?
I don't know for sure. I know that, you know, we're looking around the 1st of April, I think, that if a bill's going to make it, it's got to be what? Is it? I'm losing the numbers in my head right now.
Yeah,
like the third week of March. If your bill hasn't made it through one committee, it's pretty much done.
Yeah.
And the deadlines just go like a week by week by week. So, you know, they've got to be heard before they can even be considered.
Well, all right. Well, we'll look forward to seeing what comes out of the House and the Senate. And it's always fun to put the three together and see what the conference committees come up with.
Oh, I know. It is. It's just a treat. But
right, well,
I think we really need to send a strong message that we don't want to put Minnesota. Basically, you know, just charge the heck out of our credit card and, you know, owe all this money too. Yeah, we've got, you know, a surplus right now, but you got to look at the big picture, not just okay, this is today. And I hope we do that.
Yep, I do too. Well, that's why we got you guys there. It's a good thing the Republicans have the majority in the House. My gosh, I can't even imagine what it would be like to have all three branches controlled by the Democrats, by one party. Period.
Oh, I know.
It's terrible right now.
It's crazy. It's just spend.
All right, Tama, thanks for your time today, Representative Theis. Do appreciate it, and we'll talk soon. Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
Representative Tama Theis on the Capital Investment or Bonding Committee, representing a good chunk of the KNSI listening audience, reacting to last week, well, it was Friday, actually, so we just had a chance to get to it for the first time yesterday, and now again today, the governor's bonding bill, $1.4 billion bonding bill, which is huge.